Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Moment of Clarity. Thanks for joining me. This has not gotten, much coverage in the mainstream media other than talking about how it's a voting rights bill. HR 1 is, they're praising it as to further facilitate voting rights. But as the Green Party has said, and I'll show you their tweet, Democrats are selling HR 1 as a voting rights bill, but they aren't telling you about a little-known poison pill designed to further restrict your choice by suppressing independent candidates and parties. Tell Congress, don't let HR 1 attack voter choice. So they are saying, Green Party is saying, down with HR 1. HR 1 is being sold as a money out of politics, yet it quintuples the amount of money Green and indie presidential campaigns would need to qualify for public matching funds, from $5,000 in each of 20 states to $25,000 in each state. Here's why that's an attack on democracy and voter choice. Ballot access laws make presidential campaigns the only viable way for small parties to get ballot lines in many states. HR 1 would put public matching funds critical for ballot access drives out of reach for Greens and independents, just when 62% of U.S. voters want a new party. So you hear what this is saying. This is the Democrats and are running around saying this is great for voting, this is great for democracy, when in fact, this is quietly a way to stop third parties from getting even as close as they've gotten to having successful presidential campaigns, which, let's be honest, not very close. But, they didn't like that Jill Stein was on the ballot in a bunch of places. That really pissed off the Democrats, right? And they worry that if a Bernie Sanders or another popular progressive were to leave the Democrats and join a third party, that it would be tough to stop them from succeeding, considering more people call themselves independent than call themselves either Democrat or Republican. And this HR 1, which they are claiming is to help democracy, is to help us be able to vote, is to help our choices be counted, actually makes it far more difficult for those third parties to get on the ballot. And as they were mentioning, that if you get a lot of the time, the only way to get on at those lower level ballot, run for other offices is to have a presidential line on the ballot. So lots of times they, if the Green Party presidential candidate is not on there, then no Green Party is on there. This is, I've hardly heard people talking about this. I found out about it from the Green Party, but yet again, we see the Democrats acting like they support democracy, acting like they want to help you get your choice. But we know the reality is they only want to help you if you're voting for them, if you're voting for at least one of the two main parties, one of the two corporate parties. That is the only thing that they will support, that they will stand up for. You have this bill that is quietly making it more difficult for third parties to run. And that would go for another third party people are excited about, the Movement for a People's Party, right? Founded by Nick Brana, who I've had on this show many times. And it would become much more difficult, not impossible, but much more difficult for them to raise $25,000 per state. Obviously, that is an easy matter, a laughing matter for corporate parties. But for those not taking corporate money, it becomes far more difficult. So this is designed, really, this bill is designed, or at least that part of it, the poison pill part of it, is designed to make it a lot harder to get third parties to achieve anything. Let's see, to continue to read from the Green Party's tweets, HR 1 would eliminate the limits on donations and expenditures candidates can receive and make. What kind of campaign finance reform is that? It would eliminate the limits on donations and expenditures. I mean, how is that helping democracy? How is that even pretending to do something for democracy? It clearly is just meant to allow the corporate candidates to purchase this system even more. I mean, they have it on lock, but They're afraid of the risk that third parties might represent. To continue to quote from the Green Party, HR 1 would inflate the amount of money national party committees can give to candidates from $5,000 to $100 million. Jesus Christ. Would inflate the amount of money national party committees can give to candidates from $5,000 to $100 million. An astonishing increase of 1,999,900% that would give party bosses virtually unlimited power to flood elections with big money. Jesus Christ. This is one of the most disastrous bills I've ever fucking seen. That's crazy. But yeah, so just utter garbage. I mean, you guys should be reading up about this, and we should hold the Democrats to account on this, because this bill is fucking garbage, and it's being sold as, what's it called? The Voters' Rights Act, or for the Voting Rights Bill, meant to restrict voter choice. Lovely. Very exciting. Very, very excellent. So yeah, something to consider, something to be talking to people about is stopping that bill. Cause they're nervous. The Democrats saw the writing on the wall, both in 2016 and in 2020. They nearly lost both of those primaries to the progressive, to Bernie Sanders. They cared far less about whether they defeated Trump than whether they just made sure Bernie Sanders did not win. And that is how they ended up with Hillary Clinton, who indeed lost to Trump. And that is how they ended up with Joe Biden, a catastrophic candidate who barely scraped by on the back of a pandemic that was dealt with horribly. I mean, there is no chance Biden would have won this thing without a pandemic, without the unthinkable happening. But the Democrats weren't concerned about that. The Democratic establishment was more concerned at stopping the progressive wing of the party, which they did by rigging the primaries both times. And now they're trying to make it more difficult for third parties, because that's another thing they fear. They know that if Bernie or maybe even Tulsi Gabbard were to leave and go to one of these third parties, go to Green Party or to People's Party, that party would become nearly unstoppable. I mean, at the very least, be hugely competitive with whatever garbage corporate candidate the Democrats put up next. So they know that. And so they're trying to make it as difficult as possible to have that happen in case that were to happen. Thank you guys for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the show. Keep fighting.